Hello, my name is Guillermo Valles. I'm the Ambassador of Uruguay to Brazil and former Ambassador of Uruguay to WTO. In such capacity, I also had the honor of chairing the negotiating group on rules for quite some time. In both capacities, I had the opportunity of knowing better what the Committee on Regional Trade Agreement does. And therefore, I'm extremely happy to join you to celebrate today the 100th session of the committee. Article 24 of GATT and Article 5 of GATT both allows for the establishment of regional trade agreements. Today, there are around 340 regional trade agreements in force. They have been notified to WTO, and they provide the substance for the work in the Committee on Regional Trade Agreements. I believe that committee is of extreme importance for WTO for several reasons. Number one, with this growing number of regional trade agreements, it's of crucial importance to deepen the transparency, to make the system more transparent on what's going on in terms not only of trade policies, which we see in a specific committee, but also in terms of the negotiations, the establishment, the coming into force of new preferential trade agreements. It's of crucial importance for several reasons. First, to bring light to what we do, to know better, to understand better, not only in terms of WTO rules compliance, but to understand better the effects on welfare, the effects on trade creation or trade deviation. It's of crucial importance also, particularly, to overcome the asymmetry of information that we could have in WTO and among members. It's also, in my view, critically important in order to help the system not to overload it with disputes that need to be settled, and that could be, those challenges could be overcome, but through a better knowledge of what's going on in terms of regional trade agreements. But it's also not only important for members themselves, but also for the civil society, in particularly for small and medium enterprises, for consumers, for the civil society at large. We need to understand not only whether those regional trade agreements comply with the rules, which, by the way, are quite broad, but also what are the economic effects. And through the transparency mechanism that we temporarily adopted in 2006, I think the members, through the Committee on Regional Trade Agreements, have the opportunity to understand ex ante also what is the structure of those agreements and what are the expected economic outcomes. It is of crucial importance to have better understanding of the economic effects for the members of these regional trade agreements, for the non-members, and for the trade system as a whole. It is even more important, in my view, to understand this law and trade and economic and welfare effects while the context is changing, and while these regional trade agreements become more and more complex. Indeed, these are the frameworks which provide for more deepened regional integration, more deepened economic integration. Therefore, we have to understand these mechanisms. And members should not be at all afraid in using this, as I said, as an instrument of transparency. It is there in the discussions, in the objective, neutral, fact-based discussions that the CRTA can provide, that we will know better about best practices, that we will know better of ways to converge some of these agreements among the members. And this is all, indeed, how we are going to bring about more legitimacy, more credibility to the WTO system, and overall, also, we will contribute to have better certainty among ourselves and avoid the risks of fragmentation in the world trading system. Therefore, I think through the work of the Committee on Regional Trade Agreements, we have done much to sustain the multilateral trading system. Let's continue that work. Let's further that work. Let's perhaps improve our rules. All what we did in 2006 was to bet on having better mechanisms for transparency. We have to build on that and continue the work. Congratulations, particularly to the staff members, the staff and members of the Committee on Regional Trade Agreements. And the last message to heads of missions: do participate sometimes in the committee. Don't allow it only for a technical debate. You have to lead. Thank you and congratulations.